Harmdrenth was born on November 17, 1893 in the Netherlands. He was born into a working-class family, and as a kid, he was known for all of the wrong reasons. He was defiant, sneaky, and didn't like to be told what to do. He skipped school often and was known to trespass, drink alcohol, and was a compulsive liar. In 1910, at the age of 18, his parents sent him to America to work on a farm. They were hoping that he would learn how to be independent and become productive. But unfortunately, his behavior just got worse. Less than a year after arriving at the farm in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, he left because, surprise, surprise, he didn't like being told what to do. It was at this time that he got his first arrest for stealing liquor, but it would be far from his last. Throughout his 20s, he would be arrested and jailed multiple times throughout the Midwest. His arrests were mostly for theft, ranging from items like vacuum cleaners and jewelry all the way to cars. It was during this time where he began using his first alias, Harry Powers. And in 1921, when he was 28, Harry developed feelings for a 20-year-old woman named Rose. But when the feelings weren't reciprocated and Rose moved on and married another man, Harry was full of rage, and he burglarized the couple's home, stealing valuables, and attempted to set the home on fire to cover it up. Now for this, he would be arrested and sent to prison. A few years later, in 1927, he met Luella Strother through a matrimonial organization known as Lonely Hearts. Lonely Hearts was a national magazine where you could put personal ads and people from around the country could respond to you. It was a popular way in those days for finding love. Luella, also known as Lulu, had placed an ad in Lonely Hearts magazine, and Harry had responded. Within a year, they married, and Harry moved to Quiet Dell, West Virginia, a small community outside Clarksburg, West Virginia. And it was here where Lulu lived and owned a small farm and grocery. But marrying into her success wasn't enough for Harry. Just a couple of years after getting married, he began putting out his own personal ads on Lonely Hearts, hoping to seduce and rob wealthy widowed women. One of his actual ads read, "Wealthy widower, worth $150,000, has income from $400 to $12,000 a month. I own a beautiful 10-room brick home, completely furnished with everything that would make a good woman happy. My wife would have her own car and plenty of spending money, would have nothing to do but enjoy herself." He also claimed he was a civil engineer. Now, to some, this might have sounded too good to be true, but he actually got a ton of responses. He opened a P.O. box in Clarksburg under the name Cornelius Pearson, where postal workers estimated he got between 10 and 20 letters every single day. One of those response letters was from a 50-year-old widow and mother of 3, Asta Ecker, from the Chicago suburb of Park Ridge, Illinois. Her husband had died a few years earlier, but had provided for the family so that even after his death, they were taken care of. After corresponding for some time, they agreed to meet, and on June 23, 1931, Harry came to Illinois to meet Asta and her children, 14-year-old Greta, 12-year-old Harry, and 9-year-old Annabelle. When neighbors asked who he was, Asta said that he was a family friend. After a brief visit, Harry got the reassurance that he was looking for. She was as wealthy as he suspected. He convinced her to go back east with him to get married and prepare the home, and then come back to Illinois to pick up the children. A week after first meeting the man that went by Cornelius Pearson, Asta left her 3 children with babysitter Elizabeth Abernathy, and she left with Harry, never to be seen again alive. But just 5 days after leaving, Elizabeth received a letter saying Mr. Pearson would be coming to pick up the children. Now, Elizabeth thought this was strange, but the letter was written in Asta's handwriting, so she thought it was weird, but she accepted it. A few days later, the mysterious man Cornelius Pearson picked up the children. But before leaving the Park Ridge area, he went to a local bank where he sent Asta's 12-year-old son Harry in to withdraw money. However, the bank teller was suspicious and believed the signature was forged. When the boy came out to the car empty-handed, Harry Powers was so spooked he immediately began driving back east to his home in Quiet Dell, West Virginia. And just like their mother Asta, her 3 children weren't seen alive again. During the time Harry Powers was corresponding with Asta, he was corresponding with several other women. One of these women was Dorothy Lemke, a 50-year-old woman in search of love. Harry used the alias of Cornelius Pearson with Dorothy as well. And after corresponding, he visited her in Massachusetts, where he got her to withdraw thousands of dollars from the bank to start their life together. She was over the moon in love, and she had told friends she couldn't wait to go to Iowa and marry him and live on a farm. And just like Asta, Dorothy was never seen alive again. So now Harry Powers has been the last person to see 5 people before they disappeared, all within a few weeks in the summer of 1931. But to the people that knew Dorothy and Asta, it was Cornelius Pearson who was last seen with them. And just a few weeks after Asta's sudden departure from Park Ridge, neighbors noticed that her home, which had been dark for weeks, suddenly seemed lively and chaotic. There were movers going in and out, emptying everything, and that man that she was last seen with was back. However, Asta and her children were nowhere to be found. When neighbors confronted Harry about what he was doing there, he gave a bizarre story about Asta going to Colorado to be with family, and he was there to help her prepare the sale of the home. Neighbors found this incredibly odd because they never heard about any family in Colorado. And why would she tell them she was going east but actually go west? And then why would she sell her house but leave all of her possessions inside? With so much suspicion, the neighbors called police. And when officers arrived and questioned the situation, Harry maintained that he was Cornelius Pearson from West Virginia and that he had paid the mortgage of Asta's house and he was getting it ready to be sold. He repeated his story of the family going to Colorado. Police found it strange and decided to continue to investigate their sudden disappearance. They recalled that he said he was from Fairmont, West Virginia, but when police reached out to authorities there, they'd never heard of Cornelius Pearson. After his close encounter with police in Illinois, Harry went back to West Virginia to escape the heat. But Illinois police weren't satisfied. After following up with the people that knew Asta and her kids, they found out about letters postmarked Clarksburg, West Virginia, from Cornelius Pearson. When they reached out to police in Clarksburg, they too didn't know of a Cornelius Pearson. But they didn't write it off and stop looking. They reached out locally and got a hit from the Clarksburg postmaster. He would share with police that there was a P.O. box for Cornelius Pearson, and it received a lot of mail. But the person who owned it was a local guy named Harry Powers. This would break the case wide open. When police questioned Harry Powers in West Virginia, he claimed he was confused and had done no wrong. But police felt there was something off about the guy, and they decided to go to his property and have a look around. When they arrived, they learned from his wife that Harry had recently built his own garage structure, and he spent a lot of time working in it. Police thanked her and began walking to the garage, which was nearly a mile away from the house. Walking up to it, they could see that it was made out of concrete and it had no windows, and what they found inside would seal Harry's fate. Upon entering the garage, it was cold and dark, but they saw that the area was split into what were described by police as several cells. Each one had a door that locked from the outside. While searching the garage, they found women's and children's clothing, hair, and a child's bloody footprint. Finally, they found a hidden chamber beneath the flooring, which contained jewelry and other items, some of which were proven to be Asta's. However, there were no bodies found in his makeshift torture chamber, but it wouldn't be long before police found some. On August 28, 1931, police would make a discovery while searching Harry Powers' property. At the time of the search, the case had gained attention of the locals in surrounding areas, so there was a huge crowd watching and waiting for any news. Part of the crowd was a local 15-year-old boy who would tell police that very recently, Harry Powers had offered him money to help him dig a hole in the ditch next to his garage. After leading police to the exact spot, they uncovered 4 bodies in a shallow grave, all wrapped in burlap sacks, and they were the bodies of Asta and her 3 children, Greta, Harry, and Annabelle. They were all bound, and Asta had been blindfolded. Evidence showed little Harry's head had been beaten in with a blunt object. After further searching, they found the body of Dorothy Lemke in another hidden chamber of the garage. She too was wrapped like the others. Police would find a chest on the property with thousands of letters inside. It appeared that Harry had been scamming women for years through ads and publications like the Lonely Hearts. After his arrest, dozens of women came forward from around the country, and they shared their experiences with Harry. All of them were wooed and promised marriage, only to have their bank accounts emptied and valuables stolen. And police strongly believed Asta and Dorothy weren't the only victims killed. When asked how many more, Harry said, quote, "I don't know." He admitted to the murders of Dorothy, Asta, and her children simply because the evidence was just overwhelming. He told police after locking them in the garage, he starved them and ultimately hung each victim from a noose he secured from a rafter. Everyone except little Harry. He made Harry watch the hanging of his own mother, and when little Harry let out a blood-curdling scream just at the sight, Harry Powers bashed his head in repeatedly with a hammer. The trial was a media frenzy and such a spectacle that it couldn't even be held at the courthouse. It was moved to the Opera House in Clarksburg. Harry Powers sat unfazed throughout it, and after deliberating for an hour, the jury found him guilty in December of 1931. The judge sentenced him to death by hanging, and 3 months later, on March 18, 1932, he was hanged, no remorse and no last words. We'll never know how many victims, but thankfully, Dorothy Lemke, Asta, Greta, Harry, and Annabelle got their justice. It was proven that his wife Luella had no idea what Harry was up to in his garage, and where the garage was now sits as an empty lot, and it serves as a reminder of the lives that were lost there. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and I will see you in the next one.